Look at this guy, Coach Kavanagh. What's you're having a coffee?
I'm having a coffee. I'll join you for a beer on Saturday.
On Saturday? Are we gonna win?
100%.
Really? You're gonna knock this guy out?
Round 6.
Round 6. That is. It must be just such an exciting thing when you guys are just taking on bigger and bigger challenges, and it's wild. Like, are you used to the idea now? Does it feel normal to do things like this?
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess, first of all, coming stateside all the way back to Poirier was our first kind of big US name in the US. That was a big challenge, and then there was always talk about the wrestler.
Right.
And then we got him on short notice for Mendes, and that was a big one. And then it was the kicker, the unbeatable kicker. Then we had that, and then the bigger man, and we stumbled on that.
Stumble, which was good for you.
I've said it before. I will look back at that as being the biggest turning point in. It's funny, my book ends on that loss, and people are like, "Why would you end that loss? You should have." But that was actually. I feel that's going to turn out to be the most important lesson probably I've learned along the way, and it got me in contact with some people that. Dr. Julian and Colin Byrne that are a big part of the team now. If we hadn't have had that stumble, maybe that would have never happened. And they've played a big part, I believe, in this training camp. So it's kind of like people say, I got beat up as a kid, and I had some things happen in life, and I can't really say any of those things were negative because I'm happy now.
Yeah,
so
right.
if all of those little knocks and bangs I got along the way put me on this path to where I meet you today, and I'm happy. Then how can I say anything that's been bad in the past?
So true. I mean, you're not you if that. You're some other guy, some other John Kavanagh.
Yep.
Without that stuff. So you mentioned the kicker. I want to talk to actually, as you were mentioning.
Anytime, Chris.
What is he saying? What is
he wants to train with me. So
oh yeah.
Just saying anytime.
Yeah. Go train with this guy. I was hoping I could get into training with you, but I'll hope to do that in the future.
Sure.
So I've just been working with George St. Pierre, following him around. And there's no question Matt Serra was the turning point in his life.
Right.
That loss, for him, it was overconfidence.
Yes.
For you guys, I think it was understanding that, the setback, the searching for your own fault in it, what you did, Conor looked for what his fault was, and using that to push yourself forward and move towards it. I think that was it.
Yeah, I do a little school talk. I visit a couple of schools back home. And I talk about, obviously, I could use lessons I've learned from any one of my fighters. I use Conor's because the kids all know. And I talk about his 3 losses and what each loss taught us. And for that loss, I talk about accountability. That's what it taught us. That we have to hold ourselves accountable to a very strict training regime, which we have to hold our hands in the air and say we didn't for that one. For a myriad of reasons, which can all be summed up in one word: excuse. And we don't have time for them. So what did we do? We sat down. We said, okay, let's set out a training program, hold ourselves accountable to it. And on weigh-in day and going into that fight, I sat down with Conor and said, look, that's what we set out we were going to do, and we did every session. We made every session. So we're going into this fight with no qualms, no worries. And if we lose, we go, better man won, and we carry on. And it worked.
When you fought Mendes, you can't, Coach, I don't know if you realize this, but you can't kick a wrestler. Did you know that? You can't kick a wrestler.
That was the thinking. That's what we were always told. And it's funny, like some of those snap kicks that we used in that fight, we literally only started adding them in quite late in training camp. And you can't kick a wrestler. And Lyoto Machida took Randy Couture's head off, and obviously Conor, it was a big part of that game was sinking that teep or snap kick, whatever you want to call it, into the gut, and we're Mendes did.
It looked like I'm taking pieces and trying to connect them using the obvious martial arts when I know you blend everything, but it looked like a Taekwondo front kick, but with a Muay Thai extraction.
Right.
So is that because the problem, you don't kick the wrestler because he'll get a hold of you.
Yes.
You don't throw away the technique, you just solve that problem.
Yes.
And the problem is extraction, we need to extract. So
yes.
It's a Muay Thai type extraction to a Taekwondo type kick.
Yeah, my background is Campo, so like that kind of snap from the knee was from my experience was Kempo and hit him with the ball of the foot, rather than the toes. I think in Thai boxing they sort of spear with the toes, and in Kempo it's with the ball of the foot and snap it in. But also a big part of it as well was accepting that he might catch the leg and not having that as being a panic response. That we're actually very good. Conor's very, very good at dealing with single leg defense, and that if we end up on our back, it's mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
You play guard.
Yeah.
You play guard from there, and we've got 25 minutes to wear someone down that can blow out. And if we end up on our back and we're defending ourselves there for a round, it's fighting.
That's fighting.
In fact, we did a hell of a lot of damage from our back in that fight, if you remember.
Yeah.
There's big elbow shots there,
and he, I think, demoralized the wrestler a little bit from there as well.
One of my favorite parts in that fight is at the end of the round, Conor's kind of wild laugh, smiling to his face, going, "We got to start on our feet again."
Yeah, right.
you can just kind of see him. Mendes afterwards even said, like, "What the hell do I have to do to this guy?" He's just talking to me the whole way through.
Keeps talking. I'm hitting him, so it's that philosophy, I think, that we really saw go away in martial arts for a while, in mixed martial arts, where everybody trained the same things and they believed there was right and wrong, and that's it. We must have the underhook in this situation. We must put our foot there. And that's so counter to what martial arts has always been about. But MMA started to do it just like every system eventually does.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting when you do go back over the fights and you see the evolution of the sport from the kind of the pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu approach to the more grappling approach. The athlete, the GSP coming in, and then the stand-up fighter staying away from the takedown, and it is very interesting to watch the evolution of it, and like you said, what was once rules getting completely thrown out the door.
That's what I love about it. Like, that's what's so incredible about it, is you can study and this is how it works until it doesn't. And once everybody believes something works, it's often the very best thing to explore is the other thing. If we must fight for an underhook, eventually you can say, "Oh, fuck it, let him have the underhook. I'll just become really good at overhooks," and you never bother to even have that battle.
Right.
And my very favorite, which I go to all the time, is that front foot in front southpaw versus orthodox. If everybody really believes we must have our foot there, all you do is you know what he's going to do based on the fact that he's going to do that, and it changes the thing almost.
Yeah, well, that was a big part of our introduction of the turning sidekick for Conor, was because there is that battle for the lead foot placement. But if your foot's on the inside, you do a turning sidekick, they're in perfect position for it.
Right, and walk them right into it.
Yeah, because they've learned. It's a special thing in boxing that you got to have the foot on the outside. Okay, you're in perfect place for a turning sidekick.
Yeah, which in boxing, it makes sense because there is no turning sidekick in boxing.
No, that's an exit.
Yes, that's an exit. So, have you found other fascinating things with this type of thinking when you watch boxing itself? Never mind Floyd. Floyd is the target. But as you've thought this way, boxing itself, you find these other holes that were not examined from a three-dimensional mixed martial arts free fighting point of view.
I'm going to annoy you and say, I believe so. I believe we have a few things. I clearly can't talk about them until Sunday. We meet here for a couple of beers on Sunday.
Are you staying? You guys staying? Will you sit down with me on Sunday and have a quick chat?
I'll do my utmost.
Okay.
I'll do my utmost.
That sounds
I don't
fair.
like promising something that I don't deliver on. So.
And you are going to be hammered Saturday night.
Hammered by me or hammered Irish style?
Irish style. You are going.
I hear we're done and everything before 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that's an early night.
Amazing. Yeah. So
everybody messaged me. Apparently it's an 8 p.m. local time walkout.
8 p.m. here. What time's that in Ireland?
Yeah, you guys need to figure that out.
Yeah, figure that out.
You're in New Zealand, figure it out.
Yeah.
You're in Canada, figure it out.
He's busy.
I'm not the guy. I'm not Google.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's 8 p.m. walkout on Saturday night, Vegas time. So do your calculations.
Yeah. The math. I was told there would be no math. But man, you gotta be pumped. Do you get nervous? Like, I mean, is he a brother or a son or what are you
kid
guys?
brother?
Kid brother.
Yeah. I like kid brother.
And so you get nervous. Your kid brother's gonna go fight. You're not nervous for him to get hurt, probably. You're nervous for.
No, it's a different. It's a different sense. Talking to some of the guys about this fight, he's not going against a Mike Tyson.
Right.
That you're like, oh God, you could potentially, even fighting Mike Tyson and people found holes in his game. You can wear on him. But we don't have to do that with Mayweather. There's not the worry of the demolition hands.
Yeah, right.
They're just going to run you over. There's certainly a worry of that's probably Irish people
It's Irish.
dropping glasses.
Yeah.
There's certainly a worry. Worry's the wrong word. You got to be concerned about letting rounds get away from us, and you know, are barely losing points, and then suddenly you're a few rounds down. So that's a concern, and that's been planned and mapped out. But there wouldn't be the worry of like, okay, whoa, you could get really hurt in here.
Yeah, right.
And that's for all my fighters. We're still a small kind of close-knit team. They're all in some way my kid brothers or something, and I don't like seeing anyone get hit.
It's tough. I mean, getting hit in the head is a tough business.
Yes, it is.
It's a hard business. But when you look at it, they love it. Like, people have a love for what they do, and some people love. I was a hairdresser for 8 years. I fought 9 times, but the damage to my body is my shoulder from holding my hand up when I was a hairdresser. I used to have to hold. You damage your body doing the things that you love. You know, it's a part of chasing something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, I will. You're 100% correct. I mean, there's a lot of jobs out there that working out a mine or driving those ice trucks and all of these there's a lot of dangerous jobs out there. But I do find it funny when people say this fight's all about the money. If you're a grown adult and you're letting somebody hit you full force in the head, it better be about the money. It better be about the money. You're a martial arts fan. I'm a martial arts guy. I will do jiu-jitsu. I will do pad work, bag work. I'll do fitness till the day I die. But I stopped letting people hit me full force in the head with a small amount of padding on the day I stopped being able to make money from it. And all of my fighters, I would pull them out of it immediately. When they say to me, "Oh, I'm fighting this one for my fans," or "I'm fighting this one for a belt," that's when you've got to say, "All right, you've clearly taken too many headshots. Let's get out of here. Let's do our boxercise. Let's do our yoga. Let's do our jiu-jitsu. Let's do our wrestling." And you can do that forever.
Yeah.
You know, look at Helio Gracie in his 90s, still messing people up. So that's the long term. But the small amount of padding and the heavy headshots, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to some 20-year-old and say it's not the professional element of mixed martial arts and the professional element of boxing is not dangerous, because it is. There's heavy headshots in there, so make sure you're doing it. If there's a payday at the end of it, if you really think there's money at the end of it, if there's not, I would plead with you to stop right away and train for fun. Do what I'm doing. 40-year-old man, I like to move around a little bit, and they even did a few rounds of Conor for this one.
How'd that go?
Terribly for me, but a lot of fun, and he takes it easy on the old guy. But yeah, it should. Prize fighting at this level of professionalism should always be about the money. Martial arts trained in the gym and exchanging techniques and with striking and being sensible about headshots, that's forever.
Yeah. So I fought for the knowledge, but I also fought at the lowest level, but I'm still getting kicked in the head. But I fought for the knowledge, and I fought because I wanted to do what I do right now. I wanted to be sitting here talking with you obsessively about martial arts, and I felt I had to pay that cost. That it was it's a different.
I would say the exact same for me. I did about 12 fights, and I paid to do most of my fights. I flew to England, and I pay my own way and all of that kind of thing. But again, I didn't want to be we call it dry land swimmer. I didn't want to be teaching people to swim and had never been in the water. I've competed in boxing, and kickboxing, and judo, and jiu-jitsu, and MMA. I did a lot of different combat sports. And I just want to be when I'm in the locker room, when I'm talking to the guys, and not looking at me going, "Well, easy for you to say," No, I've done it.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's something about it. You understand that, and those emotions, that's the part you can't experience, like fear or anxiety or that joy of winning or those things. They have to be experienced. There's no other way.
Highest highs and lowest lows.
Yeah. Oh God. I've a tear to my eye when I think of the epic failure, one of my epic failures. But that's part of your life. Like you were saying, you're not here without those. You're not you without those. I'm going to let you guys go. I know you're going shopping, but there's one thing that was kind of getting at me when McGregor.
Thank you, King Persia.
I'm sorry we
King
didn't take
Persia's.
questions. I just have so many. But as McGregor was. He laid out Aldo. I was there. That's, I think, maybe when I met you the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And so he laid out Aldo. Then he beat up Eddie. Before Eddie, he was then going to fight Diaz at 170. But then there was discussion. Maybe we'd fight Woodley at 170. That idea of eternally taking a bigger test and a bigger test and a bigger test. You couldn't go to then Rockhold and then John Jones, could you?
Conor's Conor. Like, imagine if 3 or 4 years ago I bumped into you and I said, you know what, me and you will be chatting in Vegas about Conor fighting Mayweather. You'd look at me and go, yeah, all right, whatever.
I don't know. I might have bought it. I'm fully.
You might have?
I might have.
Yeah.
I'm fully getting it.
Yeah. When at this stage, Conor, after this fight, messaged me a couple of days later and says, "Hey, we're signed to fight Brock Lesnar." I'll just go, "Okay, well, let's try and find disruptions in Brock Lesnar's system."
Right. Yeah. Hey man, it's
run around the octagon for a round and get him tired or something. We would figure it out.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. So,
Roscommon.
Dana actually brought me in to go do some. Oh, I'm not allowed to say where it's going to be. I almost said it.
Oh.
To do a breakdown of how Conor could win that we shot at the Performance Institute that's going to air this week.
Oh, nice.
And so you don't have to fully tell me.
Are you getting Brian Stan's job? Can we release that?
No, I don't think it works that way. I don't think it's that simple. But a lot of people have been asking.
That'd be cool.
Sure, yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, ultimately, my dream is definitely to call the UFC.
Right.
And to probably call a Conor McGregor fight or a Cub Swanson fight or, you know. But,
Hashtag Robin for UFC.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Look at this guy. I don't know that it's that simple, but you know
it kind of is.
I mean,
you get enough momentum going. That's how these things happen. That's how I found this out.
Yeah.
You start talking about fights long enough, and then suddenly you're a few days out from it.
Yeah, right. Fuck, you're a few days out.
Put that vision out there and
wow.
Keep talking about it.
But I can tell you that at some point I'm going to see you at a show, and I'm going to be calling a show that you're cornering Conor in.
Nice. I look forward to that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Have fun on Saturday night. Break legs.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
See you guys later. Blackout.